I'm going to call this one Dirtying Myself Up. What time is it? 8:59 a.m. Or bringing myself down a notch. Now, I talk to y'all that tell y'all that this is a topic that I want to talk about, but for some reason it's taboo, or it's something that's going to elicit the crazy people to come out and start inappropriate comments. But I'm going to talk about it from my point of view, and this is realism. So, all right, I'm calling this dirtying myself down, dumbing myself down, or whatever. So yesterday, and the reason that I feel like it's an urge to do this or need to do this every once in a while, because sometimes I feel like I'm too good, like, and when you're too good, you're too sweet, you're too innocent, and you're too wanting. Like I talked about earlier today, am I being desperate by, continuously asking? And I think no, that I should, but it's the spirit that you do it in that matters. And so the spirit that I'm reverting to a little bit is that childlike spirit where you want approval so bad, where you want, support so bad. And the thing is, I have to get rid of that. I'm an adult. I don't want to do that because the truth of the matter is, again, emotional intelligence and actualization, that people, are not. And I know that because I did some research. I looked at other channels that are similar to mine with the same kind of content, the same kind of people, and actually they are a little bit better than me, but they're not faring a whole lot better off than me, right? So every now and then I feel a need to dirty myself out. And they call it like sexual dirty myself up, sexual energy, or sexual something sexual. But basically what it is that energy, it has to do with you building your sexual energy, and then you're building it in order to reserve it, sexual magic or something like that. You're building it in order to reserve it for a time when in need, right? And the reason this whole thought process came to me this morning was because yesterday, like I said, I hadn't had an opportunity to address that grocery store issue yet because I've been busy, busy. But when you're busy and you're thinking about shit that you really shouldn't be thinking about, because either you're going to do something about it or you're going to be busy, you can't just sit and think about it while you're supposed to be relaxing, because either you need, if you're relaxing, you need to relax. So the thing is, when people get under your skin, the situations get under your skin, and other people do this too. I remember even when I was younger, like early 20s, this girl, I forget her name, was Wakipa, something, she looked like Tyra Banks. She worked with me. And she had that same spirit that I did. Somebody would say something sideways to her, and in that moment, she doesn't do anything because she's focused on doing what she's doing. But then later, she comes back, she's like, hey, and it's the same kind of deal. Like in the moment, I'm just trying to get out that story. I'm not thinking about it. But yeah, I heard all of that. I peeped all of that. Again, because you're ever present and you're aware of everything, but you're oblivious to everything at the same time because you're focused, but you're aware. So, when that happens and you know that you really don't have the time to sit and like iron all that shit out like you want to, one of the, I call it the wrong way, but it is an easy way to manage it, is if you think of something sexually, if you think of it sexually, and the reason why I'm going to talk about power and control and sexuality, if you think of it sexually, it brings that power and control back to you because you're using a situation which was meant to diminish you or demise you, and you're using it in a way to please you, to to like, hey, I got the last win, win on that, and you can go on because you conquered that situation sexually, at least mentally, so that the situation had nothing to do with sexuality, but it conquers that situation for you, because now instead of that being a bad memory for you, that was a pleasurable memory for you, and now you're done until you had a chance to appropriately address it. Or if you run into that situation again, it's like, okay, I've had that person. I remember when I was going through that legal situation, homeless, and I walked the streets a lot like I do now. And I remember someone saying they were following me, and I was just like, I'm not interested, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, well, I've had you so many times in so many different ways in my mind anyways. I was like, what? Whatever. And back then, and I still have that because women, sometimes we could be different. I kind of appreciated it's like you can look and you can think about it all you want to, as long as it's from afar. I don't care what you do. You know what I'm saying? Just stay away from me. But so yeah, there's a thing to that, and I talked about it before briefly without saying it directly, but I feel like it needs to be talked about. I think sexuality is important, and it does harness a lot of power and energy, and it is a good release when harnessed the right way, right? And the other portion of that is, I talked about how it can be used to relieve stress, and different reasons why middle-aged women, would even think about it, and I'm sure there's a lot of reasons that other people think about it. They're not the same for me. I'm a loner, so all that shit don't really apply the same way to me. For me, stress relief, hormonal, like that time of the month comes and it's just really, I hate to say it, it's uncontrollable. It's like you're not consciously, even if you're consciously controlling it, it's like for whatever reason, things should happen, So all of that, and then thinking about, what's been shared with me about male sexuality, about the sexual energy and magic that men are supposed to keep it pent up, and they're supposed to save it because they're energy, and then every once in a while release it, not continuously release it, but just like tantric sexuality, you're supposed to bring it to a certain level, like when you're almost there, and then let it die down, you know, let it down. It's almost like recharging a battery. You're supposed to let a battery, well, no, you're supposed to let the battery go all the way out, but you're supposed to get it right there and then let it die down. And that's why I'm so confused. And this is important. I need to talk about this. That's why I'm so confused about why everybody's fucking everybody and having sex with everybody. I'm sure there's benefits to that because in reality, it's good to have that human interaction, but in reality of it, you don't have to do the things that create babies to have a satisfying sexual life, and in addition to that, it's better for you, mentally and physically, if you are able to bring each other to arousal without all of that. You know what I'm saying? Without the intercourse and the babies and all that. But what bothers me a little bit is that I'm experiencing or I'm seeing or I don't have enough experience to know, but what I've seen, and this just may be my experience, 'cause I'm sure other people have more fulfilling experiences, but my experience is that with Black culture, they don't really, they don't understand the value of that, especially ghetto Black culture. It's all about fucking, and that's not what it should be. When you really treasure yourself and your partner or, the experience, that's not what you do. They don't understand. It seems like a lot. And I don't know. I'm old. I haven't been doing anything like that in a while, so I don't know. Maybe times have changed and maybe it's just me because I'm an old ass fuddy-duddy. But, there seems to be no honor or privilege placed into the tantrism that should be there. It should all be tantric unless you have the intention of procreating. And that sexuality to me is better than, risking diseases, risking pregnancies and creating families that you're not going to complete. Or for women these days, especially putting yourself into a situation where, you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life for collecting a welfare check, which a lot of times that is the actual goal of some women for the rest of your life. Because if the partner's not going to pay, the government's going to pay. And I don't know, who's to say what's right or wrong? Because me, I don't collect any type of benefits or whatever else, food stamps, whatever. But there are people that do, that have kids, that, they live the same lifestyle I live or maybe better. Whatever type of food they want to get, they get. They get benefits as far as, transportational. They get benefits as far as financial from the government. But I don't never want anything from the enemy. And that's kind of how I see it, But, am I the stupid one? I don't think so, because I'm not opening my womb to anybody. My womb is not for sale. And then when you look at the fact that you're bringing life into this world, that's basically biological property. I had to think that through a little bit because not to say that their opinion might differ, but I don't think I did the wrong thing. I think I'm doing the right thing. And I can't see that. I can't see damaging somebody else's life. Like I said, them kids on the basketball court, all of that. So I think I'm doing the right thing, and eventually I'll be so old that it won't matter if I'm doing the right thing or not. I won't be able to change that, but I'm thankful. Somebody had a really interesting thought about reincarnation and, giving birth to babies. That basically when you give birth to children, you're reincarnating someone from your ancestry line. And that's an interesting thought. But if we're all related anyhow, we're all just recreating each other anyhow. So, it doesn't matter. Anyhow, just random thoughts on sexuality, procreation, various methods of stress management and and that. So that's what that was all about. When I go back and listen to it, I'll title it so that it makes sense. But that's what that little rant was about. And I just wanted to get that off my chest. I don't understand why we can't talk about sexuality, especially in a positive, good way. That's a positive, good way. People talk about it where they can wear each other down and talk shit. But no, I think that's something that needs to be talked about. Especially I need to talk about it. I need to, explore those things because I think it's important. I think it's a part of key element of energy in our lives, and dispelling of energy. Just like I said, emotional intelligence is a key element of success in this life. Energy is important too. And I think sexual energy and sexual, they call it sex magic. I think it's study human sexuality. I think I need to study that. I need to have an understanding of it. And I remember in college, there was a girl that studied. I was like, why would you take a whole course? And then I looked at it as kind of porn, but it wasn't. There's a rhyme and reason to all that. And for whatever reason, she understood that at 23. And it took me till 47 to really understand it, though it was introduced to me every once in a while throughout the years in between. But anyways, God bless.